Good morning. I'm Elaine Chapnick, president of the Larchmont Mamaroneck Local Summit, welcoming you to our May meeting on this beautiful spring morning. Today, we have 3 lieutenants and a detective from our 3 police departments eager to speak to us on our topic, staying safe on the sound. So I'll now turn the program over to today's chair, Larry Thal. Larry?
Thank you, Elaine. Well, no matter where you live, security and protection from harm are important to every person and place. Today, we are very grateful to have with us representatives from the 3 area police departments to discuss many important topics, including how to prevent home burglary, vacation crime prevention tips, free residential security checks, direct numbers to call in case of an emergency, and much, much more information. They'll also emphasize how working together in partnership, we can keep ourselves, our homes, and our community a safe place. So we're going to move ahead with our first of our panelists. It's going to be the presentation by 2 members of the Town of Mamaroneck Police Department, Lieutenant Jason Florkowski, head of the Detective Division, and Detective Amy LaRosa, head of the Youth Division. Okay, so I turn it over to them now.
Oh, good morning. How are you?
Hi, good morning.
What we'd like to do is just start with a little PowerPoint, some tips. We're just working on getting our screen sharing up. Can we all see that now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so I'm Lieutenant Jason Florkowski with the Town Police Department. I'm here with Detective Amy LaRosa, and she's just going to go over her PowerPoint that she put together for you guys today. I'll turn it over to her now.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So some things I'm going to be discussing with everyone are different types of scams and crimes that we've seen like locally across the different police departments and in law enforcement that have been taking place recently. There's always going to be bad actors. They're always going to be thinking of new ways to scam others. So some of these are going to be kind of newer. Maybe you haven't heard about them, and some have been around for a while, but have been enhanced with new advancements in technology. Then I'll also discuss some safety tips and ways that you can be alert and be aware of your surroundings and some things that you can do to help protect you so that you're not a victim. And I'll finish up discussing what you can do if you have been a victim of a crime. So some different types of scams that we've been seeing going around, a grandparent emergency scam, extortion, investment scams, internet cyber threats, money transfer requests, charity prides, identity theft, service scams. So I'm going to highlight some of the more common ones that we've seen and go through those today. The most important takeaway I would say for you guys to keep in mind is that do not provide your personal or financial information to anyone. Be alert and trust your gut. And you'll see that kind of as we go along is kind of like the theme in each of these scams. So one scam that we've seen happen pretty often is this emergency scam. Usually takes place by making a telephone call to a victim. They'll receive a call from someone claiming that maybe a grandchild or a family member is in trouble, is hurt, they need immediate financial assistance. The typical scenario, the family member may have been arrested and needs bail, been in a car accident, needs money for hospital costs. The scammer is going to ask different questions to the victim to try and obtain personal information. And these scammers are well rehearsed, so they know how to kind of play on the victims and get them to believe them. The victim may give them a telephone number to call to kind of verify the story. And that person, that phone call will be answered by somebody else pretending to be a lawyer or a police officer. We've also seen cases where the victims have told us that it sounded like their loved ones. And this may be true. It seems pretty easy to get short like audio clips from content that's been posted online by people. They can use voice cloning programs. So when a scammer calls you, they could sound like your loved one. And the scammer is going to insist to the victim that not to contact anyone and that there's an extreme urgency to get this handled immediately. And then they're going to ask that they send money for the bail or hospital costs via money service, gift cards. We've even seen where cash has been requested, and a personal courier service will come up and pick up that payment.
Like what they'll do is they'll send an Uber, actually, is like the newer trend. They're actually using Uber drivers to come pick the money up.
And we continue seeing these cases occurring almost weekly. They're very good at what they do, and getting people to believe that there is, somebody is in trouble. Some tips for people to keep in mind if they do receive a telephone call or something along these lines. Police, judges, legal entities will never request money be sent through a money service or with gift cards. And take the time to stop and confirm directly with the relative, call family members or friends and find out the whereabouts of this relative in question before ever considering entertaining this request. Another scam we have is an extortion scam. That's when any person will unlawfully obtain money, property, or services from a person, entity, or institution through coercion. The scammers may impersonate real government officials through telephone or by email and attempt to obtain personal and financial information. They will threaten fines or police action if this urgent request is not fulfilled. So again, it's like a time thing. There's an urgency and there's a time behind it. They may claim you owe back taxes. They may say there's a problem with your tax return, or they may even claim that there's a pending refund waiting for you. And in order to receive it, you have to provide financial information or pay processing fees. It's sort of kind of like their loophole. And they'll again request that payment through a money service or credit debit cards. Some tips for this type of scam. Again, government agencies will not threaten you or ask for payment through money wire services or prepaid credit cards. Do not take immediate action. Stop and think, why would an agency that most likely already has your information on file be requesting this? Contact the agency directly and confirm. And again, take the time to discuss with a family member or a trusted friend. Also, on a side note, recently I saw, with the mention of taxes, I saw last week that several people had used a service that was advertised online to prepare their taxes, and they found out that it was not a legitimate company. A portion of people's refunds had been taken. So it may look legitimate, everything may look good online, but it's definitely recommended to go to a known reputable company for your taxes and go in person to do your taxes. Next, I'll touch upon like some internet and cyber threats. So we have this malicious software. Malware is the software application that can perform malicious tasks. Some of the things that malware can do, it's designed to create access into a network, spy on the user, or in order to obtain personal information or passwords. And some malware is designed to extort the victim in some way. The most notable form of malware is ransomware. It's a program designed to encrypt the victim's files and then request a ransom in order to get the decryption key. We also have seen an increase in, I think everyone has, in spam, those unsolicited junk emails that try and trick you into clicking on a link or a pop-up message. And once you click it, it will infect your computer. Phishing emails are all about tricking you into providing personal information and banking details. So be wary of any email that's asking you to update, validate, or confirm anything by clicking this or going there. That is suspicious. Never assume an email is legitimate, even if it has a company logo or a name of a friend or uses a genuine organization. Never open any attachments or follow any links in a suspicious email. Simply delete it. And secure your computer by activating your firewall and using any antivirus malware software. Lastly, for internet, I know online shopping and selling, it's easy, it's convenient. There's definitely a lot of people are partaking in it. But unfortunately, there's also going to be an attraction for scammers. They may try and get you to deal outside of online auction sites. Once you've paid, you may not receive the items you purchased. So I would recommend don't pay by sending cash, money transfers, or money orders. And it goes without saying, but I will say it, be very careful if you decide to meet buyers or sellers in person. I wouldn't recommend having a buyer or seller come to your personal home. And I would try and do as much research as you can on buyers and sellers before agreeing to any deals.
And with that said, the safest place you can meet somebody is at a police department. That, I recently bought something from somebody online. What I had them do was meet me at the local police department where I was. This way, if something should happen, I'm in a place that's should be well protected and public. That's really what you want to do. If they don't want to meet you there, then you should kind of think that something's wrong.
Yeah. Some other scams we've seen, money transfer requests, overpayment, inheritance. So you may be selling an item online. You may agree to a set price with a buyer, and the buyer then sends you money, order, or check, but it's more than what was agreed upon. The buyer claims, oh, they made a mistake. They meant an excuse for the extra money. Maybe they were trying to say they can cover delivery charges. And the buyer will then request that you refund the excess amount of money by money transfer. This is suspicious. The buyer's hoping you'll transfer the money before finding out that the check or money order was no good. So be careful with that. Some service scams, I think a lot of people are very familiar with these. We can lower your interest rates, antivirus software promises to repair your computer over the internet. They'll request to remotely access your computer. Then they will use malicious software to capture personal and financial information, or they may freeze your computer to force a payment before you can gain access again. So for the antivirus software scam, just be wary, never allow anyone to remotely access your computer. And if you are having computer problems, take your device to a local technician. Few more scams. We've seen an increasingly popular crime as a result of the continuous advances in technology for identity theft. Identity thieves are stealing, misrepresenting, hijacking the identity of others or businesses as an effective means to commit other crimes, such as take over financial accounts, open new bank accounts, transfer bank balances, apply for loans, credit cards. The list goes on and on. Prize scams. Those have been around for a very long time. And again, it's the idea that if you maybe won a large prize or a contest, and how they're going to make their money is by making you pay fees or taxes in order to claim those prizes. So be wary of that. Charity, they take advantage of people's generosity and kindness, and they usually will always exploit a recent disaster such as COVID-19, and they're going to play on your emotions using children, animals, things of that nature. Another very simple technique that we've seen used is a scammer can simply make a telephone call to a victim and advise them that there's been unauthorized charges on their credit card, and request the credit card number to verify information. It might sound, very easy, very simple, and people are falling victim to that. Something else that's kind of been around for a while, but everyone has to kind of be alert and aware of are these distraction techniques that they're using. They're using them at ATMs to distract victims while they're taking out cash. They're stealing their ATM cards. They're using distraction techniques in parking lots. While people are getting in and out of their cars, they're distracting them. Maybe they're asking them for directions, or they might be saying, hey, look, there might be something wrong with your car. Your back tire looks a little low. And while they're distracted, their purse and their wallets are being taken. Very common, the purse in the front of the shopping cart, where wallets are being taken out of them. We've seen an uptick in victims being followed from the bank after making a cash withdrawal. Again, they may be then distracted in the parking lot or followed home. And at home, be wary of people claiming to be service technicians. It could be from Con Ed, they might say they're from, or Cablevision, and they request access into your home. If you're not expecting them, don't let them in.
Yes,
Yeah.
Lieutenant, I guess I have to be a little bit of the the policeman here. Can you have a minute to just wind up,
Yep, no problem. With what she was saying on the distraction techniques, I'll end with this. Just on a local note, specifically in Trader Joe's, that's where we're getting a lot of those. So if you're in Trader Joe's, that's a place you want to be aware. They're really like using the distraction technique and going into women's purses and taking the wallet. So just be aware on that locally. And then with that said, we'll turn it over to the next speaker. I believe it's the Village of Mamaroneck.
Yes, good morning. How's everyone?
Right. So I'm going to just introduce Lieutenant PJ Trujillo. Okay. He's with the Village of Mamaroneck Police Department. He's with the investigations unit, and he has a lot to share with us now. Take it away.
Larry. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us on this very important forum. I'm going to be talking about burglary prevention today. Let me just share my screen. Give me 1 second.
All right. You're sharing a screen with us?
Yes, give me 1 second.
Good, good, good. And by the way, I'll take this minute to mention we are going to have a Q&A session following the 3 presentations. All right. So I failed to mention that earlier. All right.
All right, it's not popping up, but it's fine. Today I'm going to be speaking about burglary prevention. Obviously, we know there's been a rise in burglaries in the county of Westchester. Burglary as a whole is considered a violent crime by the FBI. It's categorized with murder, negligent manslaughter, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, larceny, and motor vehicle theft. So it's one of the serious crimes that we investigate. There's 3 classifications in the New York State Penal Law for burglaries. The first one being burglary in the 3rd degree, which is when someone burglarizes a building, not necessarily a home, but any type of commercial establishment, and something stolen from that commercial establishment. That would be considered a burglary in the 3rd degree. It's a D felony. A burglary in the 2nd degree, it's a burglary when someone actually enters someone's home and something is stolen. There's also aggravating factors in burglary in the 2nd degree. If someone goes into someone's business and is armed with some type of weapon, causes a physical injury to someone's well-being, displays what appears to be a weapon, things of that nature. Then we have burglary in the 1st degree, which again is someone's home, and now that person is or people are involved in that burglary are armed with some type of weapon, causes physical injury to the person that lives at the home. And these, as they progress in categories, get more serious. So we saw there's a D felony and burglary in the 3rd degree. We move to burglary in the 2nd degree, and then we go to burglary in the 1st degree, which is a B felony. Some preventions to keep your home safe. Some tips is if you go on vacation, please do not post any pictures or comments that you're away while you're on Facebook or Instagram, because you're telling people that you're not going to be home. And this is basically an invite to your home. So we've seen people that go on vacation, they post things on Facebook and Instagram or Snapchat, and sure enough, when they come back and they enter their home, they've been burglarized. So that's one of the key takeaways from this. Definitely invest in buying a good quality camera system inside and outside of your home. Some of these camera systems can send you alerts right to your phone. So even if you're away on vacation and you get some type of notification on your phone that someone's in your backyard or someone entered your back door or your window, your front door, right away you can call your police department and have them respond to the area and investigate. Ensure all doors and windows are closed and locked, even windows that may be on higher floors. Sometimes we all have these ladders in our homes when we're doing work and we leave it in the backyard. Burglars will see that ladder and actually utilize it to go into the second floor of a window. Keep bushes and trees trimmed so your windows are easily visible to the outside. Sometimes, you know, our landscaping isn't the best, and sometimes our windows are actually obscured, and people could use that to go into the window. Do not leave any mail packages or any type of mail collecting outside of your home. Burglars will look for mail that has not been collected or picked up as an indicator that maybe someone's not home. Have a neighbor or a family member pass by a few days to pick packages up from Amazon or your mail. If that starts to pile up in front of your house, people will see that and maybe take an opportunity to go into your house. Also, you have the post office hold off on any mail until you get back. Invest in buying a good alarm system. Use it even if you're leaving the residence for a short amount of time. You can test the alarm system if you're going to go out to dinner or lunch. Turn it on, step away, and when you come back, you disarm it. We've seen some burglaries where people have gone to dinner for an hour and a half, and sure enough, someone must have been watching the house, maybe picked up on their routine that they leave every night at 6 p.m. to dinner. And in that short window, half an hour, their home is burglarized. Install motion sensors, lights outside the home, where at night, if someone goes into your driveway or walks up in the backyard in front of the house, a motion sensor will go on and lights will go on in the area. It's a good indicator to people that, hey, someone's paying attention to the house. You know, maybe a neighbor's next door to you in the kitchen and see the light goes on and checks and see someone in the backyard in front of the house. Use indoor timers to light the interior of the home, especially if you're away. Sometimes if the house is being watched and they always see all the lights off in the house, they're going to take a chance. But if you see lights on in the house, they may think that someone's actually in the house. Definitely keep your vehicles locked when parking your driveway or in the street. We see a lot of larcenies from these vehicles. One of the most common crimes that happen in the village of Mamaroneck is people leaving their cars unlocked, and people come from other areas to go shopping in your car, whether it's a laptop, a shotgun, a purse, anything of value, people will go and take it. Even sometimes we've been seeing people go into people's houses to steal the keys to the car. Do not leave any items of value in the car visible at all. If you arrive home and you believe someone has entered your home and you see things disturbed and things moved, definitely do not touch anything. Leave immediately and call 911 or the local police desk for your specific police department. We don't want you guys touching anything. You might tamper the scene or might mess up the evidence that was left by the burglars. So please don't touch anything. They might still be in the house as well. So the minute you come in and you see something disturbed, step away and call 911 or your local police desk. Be careful with hiring any dog walkers or a person that might be coming to your house to feed your pets while you're on vacation. We have seen issues in the past with burglaries and strangers being hired to tend to pets while families are away on vacation. The Village of Mamaroneck Police Department is currently also investing in installing license plate readers, also known as LPRs. These LPRs will be helpful in investigating crime like burglaries, because we will be able to identify the license plates and the vehicle that were in a specific area when the crime was committed. Now, we know that some of these vehicles sometimes have these fictitious paper plates that we've been seeing all over, but at the very least, we can get a general description of the vehicle, the plate that was used in that area at that time, and we can send out notifications to other police departments in the area to be on the lookout for these vehicles and these plates. Lastly, be a good neighbor. My neighbor just went on vacation and texted me 2 days ago, "Hey, I'm going to be away on vacation. Can you just check in the house, make sure no one's coming by?" Look out for your property, but look out for your neighbor's property as well, and report any suspicious activity to the police. That's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lieutenant.
My pleasure.
And I just want to mention a couple of things I made notes of that I have to take some of the tips that you've given. Before I turn it over to our to the Village of Larchmont Police Department, I just want to mention that in our discussions, it came up that, you know, in setting this up with the police departments, that types of crimes that we see happening on TV or elsewhere, it's not like there's a bubble over our community. And things that can happen do happen anywhere in our, you know, homogenized internet society. So that was just my comment. I have the floor so I can make a comment like that. Okay, we're going to move on now to the Village of Larchmont to hear other important information. First, it'll be Lieutenant Ron Knudsen. He's a staff commander in the department, and Detective Danielle Lent, a detective in that department. Take it over.
Well, thank you, Larry, and thank you, Elaine and Ann and everybody else that's participating today with the summit group. All right, I'm going to have Detective Danielle Lentz start with some things, and then I'm going to follow up, all right, on her tips. Go ahead, Danielle.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having us. Just to add to what PJ mentioned, with leaving things visible, we've had a few incidents here in Larchmont and other agencies where the key fobs to the vehicles were visible from the outside, and then the perpetrators would then make entry based on viewing those fobs. Possibly, if they're not visible from the outside, it could be a deterrent to not even bother in obviously taking the cars. So we've had that happen a few times now where they've climbed through the window, grabbed the keys, and then taken the car. And this has happened during night hours where people are home. So it's getting pretty bold. Also with the scams recently, we had here in Larchmont and a few other agencies, we've had individuals approach, well, we had younger female victims, but in other jurisdictions, it's been not necessarily targeting youth. It's been everyone, where they've been approached and asked to help them with, you know, depositing a check and then taking the cash. And unfortunately, you know, the victims have, I don't know if they're just naive or just whatever the case was, wanting to be helpful, you know, agreed to do so and deposited these fraudulent checks into their accounts. And then the suspect would have them withdraw the cash from the ATM. So that's another thing that we're working on right now and preventing. So just to be aware of those things, we wanted to just make sure that community members, when they do observe any suspicious incidents, not to wait any time period to, I know sometimes people think, you know, that the police department's maybe too busy to stop and have to deal with certain things that to them might not seem very urgent, but you never know what it could lead to. So if something as minimal as it might seem is suspicious in any way, just right away call, because we've had it happen where you know, someone will call and say this happened, and now it's too late. The person's obviously long gone. So just call right away. Another thing with 911, when you do make those calls, if you're on your cell phone, If you happen to know the direct line to the police department that will be responding, it's just going to be faster, and it can potentially save several minutes in the response for you to just call the landline of the police department directly. Here in Larchmont, it's the 914-834-1000 number. If you're calling from a cell phone and you call 911, it will go to the state police, which then will have to be transferred to the right jurisdiction. Sometimes it doesn't always go directly to that jurisdiction that will be responding. So something to keep in mind. What else, LT?
Also, I just wanted to mention that to everybody that's listening, all right, and viewing this this segment today, all right, all the police departments here work in conjunction with each other. All right, so I'll reach out to Jason, I'll reach out to PJ, and likewise, the detectives will touch base with each other in regards to different cases, because what occurs in Larchmont more than likely is going to occur in the village of Mamaroneck and also in the town of Mamaroneck. So it's important for people to realize that we work with each other. And when I'm just talking about our three agencies, all right, we work with all the agencies in Westchester County too. All right, we have Scarsdale that would border us. We have the city of New Rochelle and so on. All right, so we're working in collaboration with each other in regards to different incidents that occur. And we're really asking the public to be aware of their surroundings and what's happening. All right, and as Danielle brought it up, and so did Amy and Jason and PJ, all right, we need people to get in touch with us and let us know when they see something that just doesn't seem right. All right, if something is suspicious, give us a call. All right, of course, if we get the call immediately, it's a lot better than the following day or 2 hours later, or I'm on the train into the city and I'm just thinking about, I saw somebody walking through my yard this morning. I mean, we need to get the information right away so we can check it out. Now, it might be nothing. It might be a landscaper that just has the wrong address, but it also could be somebody that's casing out a house to commit a burglary or some other crime. So that's important. All right. And as Danielle said, all right, if you want to dial 911, that's great. Okay, 911 will go to the state police and then they'll push it out, all right, to the agency. All right. With Larchmont, as the community over in Eastchester with Bronxville and Tuckahoe, all right, people could have a Larchmont postal address and believe that they're in the incorporated village, all right, which would be our jurisdiction, but it might not be. It might be actually a Larchmont postal address, but in the town of Mamaroneck's jurisdiction. So it's important for people to know exactly, all right, which police department, which agency would handle the call as far as that's concerned. All right. Also, I want to bring up the fact that, all right, terrorism is still out there. People need to be aware of that. All right. During a lot of the high holy days and different holidays, all right, you'll see an expanded police presence, especially near the train station. All right. Keeping an eye on the business districts. If there's any type of a large event, a parade, or so on and so on. All right. So we don't want to forget about that either, because that's in the back of our minds also. All right. As something that potentially can happen. All right. So again, Elaine, Larry, Ann, and the rest of the group, I want to thank you all. All right. And we're open to any type of questions, all right, or concerns you might have.
Okay, so if that concludes, the department's report, we will move now to questions and answers. So, but we want to thank you for raising such important aspects, giving us specific information about how we can best be prepared and develop new habits and awareness to keep ourselves and our communities as safe as possible. So we're going to move to the Q&A portion of the program. And Ann, I'd like you to take over from here.
Thank you. So if you do have a question, there is a Q&A on the, you can type it into the Q&A section at the bottom. So we do have a question from Kathy Dornbush. She says, what is the direct line for emergency calls in the village of Mamaroneck? And I'd like to follow that up, since the boundaries are so can be very confusing. We're not really sure. On my block, especially down the middle of the street, part is Mamaroneck, part is Larchmont. Where can we find what which police department we should call directly? Is there some place on the website, or is there a place we can go to find out what is our jurisdiction, the right place to call?
So the Village of Mamaroneck has a website. Obviously, our phone number is there. There is also a GIS locator. I don't know if you guys have that, but you can enter your address. I'll tell you where you're Larchmont, the Village of Mamaroneck, Town of Mamaroneck. Our desk line is 914-777-7780. That will get you directly to us. And you'll get a police officer on the phone that works in the Village of Mamaroneck. Now, if you call from your cell phone and you dial 911, it's going to go to the state agency, the New York State Troopers, and they will get the information and then they'll patch you into us. Now, that could be a few seconds, a minute or two, depends on how experienced the dispatcher is. But the best time is to call us directly at the phone number I just gave you, 914-777-7780.
And you had suggested beautifully to put that as a speed dial on our cell phones.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Great. So, and you had, especially, you all talked about scams and things that are going on in the community, which seem to change all the time. Seems to be a new scam or a new way to get people or a new way of burglarizing or a new thing that they found. Is there some place on the website that these are like updated so that people can be aware of the newest kind of way to take advantage of people or the newest way to, for criminals and what they're doing? I'm not sure. I think that's for all of you a little bit.
So I'll speak upon that. And we have a newsletter that we put out weekly that we try to update with information that's going on in the village. We also have a public safety ring account that we use, the Ring Neighbor, where we put out postings about public safety and crime patterns. We also have a Nixle app that we use that we text our residents. It's an update about maybe there's flooding going on, maybe a street closure because there's a crime scene, there's an investigation going on. If you guys don't have it, it's called Nixle. You could download it on your phone through the App Store. I think it's also called Evergreen, if I'm not mistaken. You'll get an email and you'll get a text about any notifications we push out from the police department's perspective.
Yes, okay, great. And we have a few questions on the Q&A. So from Nina, with the development of AI, what steps are you taking to provide further protection to the community? What is your biggest concern that AI will present in terms of resident security? So yeah, has AI been a big problem with the departments or with crime? Artificial intelligence? No?
I don't believe it has been as of yet. I haven't seen that, but it's something that we're definitely going to have to look at, because as technological advances take place, all right, the police department is fluid, all right, and we need to change, all right, as society is changing, as technology is changing. And I think PJ or maybe Jason mentioned it earlier about the LPRs. We're looking to put up more license plate readers, which are going to help us collect data, all right, on vehicles, all right, so we can identify potentially suspect vehicles and what have you. All right, so as technology continues to move forward, all right, with the different types of advances, all right, we're constantly going to have to upgrade our techniques and what we do in policing.
Just to piggyback off of Lieutenant Ronaldson's point there, the Village of Mamaroneck just last November invested in purchasing about 30 cameras. They don't have facial recognition, but they do help us and assist us in investigating crime and developing leads to solve crime. So I mean that's part of the technological advances that we're using along with the LPRs. We also have body cameras that we just put out a few weeks ago to our officers, and now each officer in the Village of Mamaroneck has a body camera. So I'll give you, for instance, if we get a call with a suspicious person in the area at 123 Main Street, and the officer shows up there and has his body camera on, and maybe it's an innocent person just looking around, dropping off a package or something, at least the officer is able to identify that person, maybe request some ID, and also get a picture of that person's face. Now that person now turns out to be a burglar and is caught on some type of home system down the block doing a burglary. And we get a video of that and we go, hey, listen, 10 minutes ago, we were there on a suspicious person walking down the street, looking through mailboxes. It's the same person that committed the burglary. Now you're able to use that technology to advance an investigation to determine if you have a lead or not. So that's what we have so far.
And then if I can just in regards to like the advancements for like computers and what's going on, what the criminals are you doing, what we see with the advancement in technology, it's more for investigative type stuff where they try to avoid being identified. They'll use it for like the swattings and things like that nature, where they'll change the phone number and things like that. But that's really the only thing we're seeing with technology, where they're able to hide their identity better. And it's more for, sending police to locations where they're saying a crime is happening when it's not. And then it makes it hard for us to investigate and find them. But that's
I'll just interject. It was mentioned earlier that they can take, anyone can go online and get a voice for instance, I think it was Detective Lent might have said, they can get the sound of your grandma and then imitate that sound when they're asking for money on a scam. So that's just the infant stages, but imagine when you can do that with AI and get an exact intonation.
Yeah, exactly. The advancement with computers, they're using it to make it appear as though they're somebody they're not. That's definitely one of the things we're seeing.
Thank you. And Allison left some, not a question, but some information. She said, if someone is unsure of what municipality their home is in, they can call the town clerk at 914-381-7870, or the village clerks, and they can let them know what police department they are is attached to. Joanne wanted to please discuss what is happening with the mailboxes.
Okay, well, I can address some of that. Unfortunately, last year we made a couple of arrests of individuals, all right, that were taking glue traps that are used for mice or different types of rodents, and they're actually putting them on wire, all right, and they're dropping them into mailboxes to retrieve mail. So the glue trap will go down through the mail slot, okay? It'll get down into the mailbox itself, all right? Of course, it will stick to whatever mail might be there, and they're able to, all right, pull and retrieve that through. So some of the mailboxes have been retrofitted with teeth, all right? So there's teeth in them, so that's to prevent like a fishing line, all right, from getting through, all right? But it doesn't prevent, all right, a small thin piece of wire that's a trap to a glue trap. All right, and individuals are then, all right, opening up the mail. All right, it could be a credit card bill that you've recently paid. It could be a check that you're sending to your grandchild or your child for a birthday gift or a special occasion or what have you. And they're getting the information, all right, the routing numbers and the account numbers, and then they're creating fraudulent checks. All right, so this is happening. The U.S. Postal Service is working on it with the Postal Inspector's Office, all right, but they're on demand, like most police departments are also, to be very honestly with you. So that's taking place, all right. Like I said, we've caught some of these individuals. We've actually also made some car stops, all right, for vehicle and traffic infractions, all right, and the car has either been, all right, impounded because it had a revoked registration or suspended registration. And we found mail in the back seat or in the trunk of these vehicles that didn't belong, all right, to the owner of the vehicle or the operator of the vehicle. All right, so these types of things are happening also. All right, and it's affecting all jurisdictions and it's affecting all counties. So it's not just in Westchester, New York City, all right, further up the line, whether it's Rockland, all right, Dutchess, Putnam, Orange. All right, it's affecting everybody. All right, we're suggesting a lot of our residents, all right, if you're going to mail anything that's sensitive, to actually go to the post office and go inside and drop it into the mail slot in the post office itself. All right, as a preventive measure. All right, we're not saying don't trust the US mail. All right, but we do have some bad actors that are out there, all right, committing these types of crimes.
Thank you. And Ann Shodash has her hand up. Mitch, can you?
Unmute, Ann.
You're unmuted, Ann, if you'd like to speak.
Okay, maybe we can come back to Ann. There's a Marlene. Oh, sorry.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, so two questions. One for Village of Larchmont. Could you please give us an update on the homeless man who accosted two women in the CVS lot before, and questioning like how did he get there and what's the status of the case?
Yeah, I can chime in as much information as I can give you, because when there's a pending investigation, we can't give out a lot of the details out, all right, because it hasn't been adjudicated at this point in time. But we did have an individual, all right, that resides in the Bronx that came up here, all right, to Westchester County. All right, this individual did assault two women on a B-line bus, all right, coming into Larchmont, all right. And he fled on foot and he wasn't apprehended at that time. All right. He also, one of the women that he had assaulted on the bus, he also stole her cell phone too, because she had taken her cell phone out to call 911. All right. So he was trying to prevent that. All right. He fled on foot. We believe into New Rochelle. At least a witness told us that. All right. Several hours later, all right, two women that had left an eatery in Larchmont that were walking to their parked cars in the CVS lot were assaulted, all right, again, totally unprovoked, just like the incident earlier on the bus, okay? They were assaulted in front of the CVS on the sidewalk, all right? The individual, the description of that individual happened to match, all right, the suspect of the earlier incident, which happened several hours before, all right? That individual fled on foot. All right, a good Samaritan, all right, gave us the direction that the individual fled on foot. And getting back to the collaboration, all right, the sergeant that was working at the time was very heads up. He asked for assistance from the village of Mamaroneck and the town of Mamaroneck, all right, to set up a perimeter, because we had a general idea of where the suspect went. All right, the perimeter was set up with good sight lines, so each officer would be able to cover the streets. All right, the egress points. All right, we waited for a while. Okay, the suspect popped out. All right, we were able to make an arrest. All right, he did not resist or anything like that, and he has been charged accordingly. So that's an update on that.
All right, thank you. And then my question. So
Oh, we're losing you, Ann.
Lieutenant, well, to the Village of Larchmont, you had what appeared to be a series of slides, except we only saw the first slide. So can we get a copy of the slides, and the same thing with Lieutenant PJ's slides? Lots of information on the slides, difficult to read. So is there any way we can get copies of those slides?
I'm going to refer that to, and I'm going to refer that to Lieutenant Jason Florkowski and Lieutenant PJ Trujillo. All right, we didn't do any slides, so you might have just confused us with the other agencies. I believe they both did PowerPoint presentations.
Yes.
Yeah, what we can do is we will email our presentation to Ann, and then maybe she could push it out.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll
And
have it
then-
on our website. Yeah.
And one last thing. You brought up the phone numbers for the Village of Larchmont and Village of Mamaroneck. I don't know if I heard a phone number for the town. And also to realize that while I live in the town of Mamaroneck, I spend a lot of my time in either the Village of Larchmont or Village of Mamaroneck. So I assume that if I see something going on in either of those locations, I need their phone numbers.
Yeah, the town's direct number is 914-381-6100. I think we're going to put it out at the end of the presentation also. And it really doesn't matter who you call. If something's happening, call somebody and then we'll figure it out.
Okay, thank you.
So the same thing, I'll email my PowerPoint to Ann, and what Jason just said, even if you call the town and you're in Larchmont, you call Larchmont and the village of Mamaroneck, we're all the same radio frequency. So once one jurisdiction gets it and puts it out, we're gonna all hear it. And if it's a hot call, if it's a call of substance, we're all gonna pretty much go into that call.
I'm going to make a footnote here also. Town council member Sabrina Fiddleman alerted me that there's a PDF document, local roads by municipality. So you can look up which exact municipality you should have in your speed dial at home. Of course, something happens anywhere, call, okay? They'll figure it out. And back to you. We'll put all this on the local summit site.
Good, thank you. And Marlene Colbert has a question, has her hand up.
You know me, I always ask questions about the environment. And so my question is, we've all heard about serious crime, but what about our quality of life? Ron Knutson certainly knows to hear from me. What about our quality of life? Every municipality has a ban against gas-powered leaf blowers this time of the year. I know that you guys, serious crime is at the top of your list, but what are you doing about these? We're very concerned about the quality of life issues. And Larchmont, I will tell you, is much quieter this summer.
Marlene, good morning. All right.
Good morning, Ron.
How are you?
Good, you?
Good. You know, we're staying on top of things. All right. Yes, we've mentioned a lot of serious crimes and we've gone over preventive measures. All right. And we want people to be aware of their surroundings. All right. Again, I just want to reiterate. All right. We live in a safe community here, the Sound Shore community. So I don't want people to be fearful when they go outside their homes. All right. But having said that, we need everybody to be aware of their surroundings. All right. And we need everybody to be a good citizen, a good neighbor. All right. When you see something that doesn't seem right, give us a call. Getting back to the leaf blower ban. All right. It's in effect. All right. It has been a lot quieter in Larchmont. I can tell you that for sure. All right. Since the ban is in effect, all right, as of May 1st, I think we've written only one summons, all right, and I think we've only gotten a few complaints, and with the other complaints, by the time the officer got there, all right, the landscaper or the individual was already gone, all right, so it is definitely working, and we want people to also let us know about all the small things that matter too. All right, to the community. All right. So if there's somebody with a dog not on a leash, all right, or if there's somebody that's littering or dumping something on the side of the road, all right, we want to be aware of those things too. So it's not just the severe or the more major crimes that we're interested in. We're interested in the quality of life for everybody. So hopefully that answers your question, Marlene.
Thank you, Ron. How about the other communities?
Well, we all take it very seriously. We do. We have the same ban here in the town. I'm sure the village also. You know, when you get to this time of year, the landscapers, sometimes you're getting new landscapers. They're not aware of the ban, so we'll educate them. If a summons is necessary, then we'll issue it. But like Ron said, you know, the smallest things we want to know about, you know, it keeps us aware, and we want to know what you're concerned about so that we can address those issues.
So our law is from like May 15th to like, I think October 30th. So it's about for 6 months. During those warmer months, we get complaints and we usually respond. And like Jason said, if it's one of the newer landscapers, we try to give them a warning, you know, educate them on the law and how serious it is. If they're a repeat offender, the second time we go, we usually give them a summons. Our officers are usually advised at roll call when they turn out about the leaf blower complaints because it's important to the community. no matter how small, how big the complaint is, we're gonna dedicate our resources to it and try to help out as much as we can.
Thank you. And Joanne Clementoni has her hand raised.
Unmute yourself, Joanne.
And we have one other person to raise hand, Joanne's not.
Well, Lieutenant Jason, you said you ordered, this is on a light note, you ordered something and you had delivered to the police station. I was just curious, did they come to the police station? Was it legitimate?
I don't think I was saying have it delivered here. I was saying that if you were to purchase, agree to purchase something from somebody online, like through Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or something like that, where you would meet the person to complete the purchase, I would suggest you do it in a public place. The safest place would be a police department.
I understand that, and you did that. You ordered something you had delivered to the police department, and I'm just wondering if it worked out. That's all. Something like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying I was having it delivered to the police department. Yeah, no, I actually met them in front of the Village of Mamaroneck Police Department, and
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
yeah, and the guy, the person that I was buying the item from had no problem meeting me there. I said,
Yeah.
That's how they're usually on the up and up.
Yeah.
They're willing to meet you at a police department. Chances are they're not trying to run.
I know it's important if you're going away or if you're going to a funeral or a wedding to have somebody house sit to keep an eye on. Years ago, that used to be a big deal, about people knowing they're going to be away for the day so they could go in and whether it's attending a funeral service or whatever, they've got a good 7 or 8 hours where they can take things. And it's usually good to have somebody say, could you please keep an eye on the place while I'm at a wedding or whatever. Maybe that's done already. I don't know.
Well, I think Lieutenant Triolo touched on that earlier. He was saying, be a good neighbor, you speak to your neighbors, have communication with them, let them know you're going away.
Yeah.
We also have a program, it's called the Dark House program. I think the other jurisdictions also do something similar, where you could let us, the police, know you're going to be away and who would be stopping by your home to check on it. And then we also would make periodic checks to make sure nothing's, out of the ordinary, broken window, open door, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. And also, one last thing, and it might be trivia, putting on a light when it goes on at a certain time to let people know you're home. Sometimes I think it's a good idea to use different windows. Don't use the same, like in my case, the living room window with the certain thing, the light going on. Perhaps maybe a kitchen window or side bedroom window, just to change it around. I don't know if it makes any sense and all that, but it just seems that if the light goes on in the same room at the same time, then you pretty much know the person's not there because it's the same window, same light. I mean, that's just a thought I had.
Yeah, it's always good to use different rooms. What I always suggest is you want the light to come on in a room that I can't see into from the outside, because if the light goes on and I can see in and see that nobody's in there, it's kind of not really effective.
Gotcha.
So usually you would want to use either an upstairs window or, something where there's a shade and I can't see in. But with the technology, not that this has to do with AI, as asked earlier, but, with the new technology, there's different, devices that you can use that would turn the lights on and off. You don't even have to be home. You can say, turn on the living room light. And then, an hour later, you could have it put the kitchen light on.
Mm-hmm.
We have time for 1 or 2 more questions. Nina has her hand up. Nina?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
I'm unmuting. There's a proliferation of firearms in the country. I have to tell you that you all know that. And while we like to think that that's not the case in our community, I I suspect that that's not completely true. I think we're tranquilizing ourselves. So are you seeing any increase in violent crimes? Are you seeing any increase in domestic violence? And are you seeing more crime that involves firearms? That's my question.
Well, I'll answer from a Larchmont standpoint, Nina. All right, first of all, gun control, all right, it's very, it's a hot topic and it's very divisive, all right, across the whole country. All right, we're not seeing a lot of, all right, increase in domestic violence calls where firearms are being used. All right, I can say our domestic violence calls over the last several years have definitely increased. All right, so there's no question about that. All right, but not pertaining to firearms per se. All right, just in general, and it could be because more people are just more aware of what's going on. All right, people need to get orders of protection to be put in place. All right, for safety issues or concerns and what have you, as far as that's concerned. All right, but in New York State, it's pretty difficult. It's not easy. All right, as some other states, all right, more in the Mid-Atlantic and moving out towards the Midwest. It's not easy, all right, for somebody to actually, all right, purchase a gun and get a full carry permit. All right, so there's a lot that goes into that with the background check and a training class and so on and so on. All right, so, all right, gun ownership, I couldn't tell you per se if it's increased in New York State, all right, or it hasn't. But we are concerned about, all right, gun control in general, all right, everybody in the law enforcement community, as far as that's concerned. And in regards to the rise in crime rates, all right, I'm pretty sure everybody's aware, all right, that most crimes are committed by recidivists, all right? So most crimes are committed by people that have already committed crimes before. Okay, it's not the average Joe Jones or Mary Smith, all right, just decides to wake up one day and commit a crime, all right? So of course there's first-time offenders, but most crimes are committed by recidivists, all right? So there's some things that need to be addressed, all right, in the whole political forum, and I'm not going to get into what's right, what's wrong, what my personal feelings are, etc. in regards to that. But thankfully, again, the Sound Shore community overall, all right, it's a safe community. We don't want people to stress out, but we do have, just like the incident, the 2 weeks ago with this individual assaulting women, all right, totally unprovoked, all right. There could be a tangent of mental illness involved in that, all right, as far as that's concerned too, but there's a lot of different things that are playing into what's happening right now in the country and here in our area too.
I'm going to have to interrupt because we are past our time and I know a lot of people are needed to leave. I want to thank Jason, Amy, PJ, Danielle, and Ron for a wonderful presentation this morning and all of you for your questions. I want to also let everybody know there are additional links and information that will be available on the Larchmont Mamaroneck Local Summit website. And I also want to say that this is our last program for this season. So I hope everybody has a wonderful summer and we'll see you back in September. And thank all of you for this presentation, Ann, Larry, and Lawrence. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Of course,
Thanks
Dolores.
a lot for all you do. Thank you.
And Dolores, sorry, and Dolores.
Thank you.
We also want to make sure to thank all the three, police chiefs. So Chief Paul Criazzo from the town of Mamaroneck, Chief Sandra DeRuza from the Village of Mamaroneck, and Chief Christopher McInerney from the Village of Larchmont. Thank you all.
You do every day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.